Welcome everyone. Have you ever wondered why some days you are super motivated to tackle your work task while the other days you can barely drag yourself out of the bed? Well, it is turned out there is a brain science behind this, and it all comes down to a little molecule in our brain called dopamine. Let me tell you all about how dopamine affects our career and motivation. And by the end of this video, we will learn how dopamine affect our career. We will understand this with the hypothetical scenario. Like you can imagine you are sitting at your desk starting at a big project you need to finish. So the part of your brain knows it is important, but another part just want to scroll social media instead. What's going in your head brain during this internal struggle? It turns out dopamine play a huge role in whether we feel motivated to work hard or relax. Dopamine is often called motivation molecule or feel good chemical which present in our brain. When we accomplish something or anticipate a reward, our brain releases a burst of dopamine that makes us feel good. It's like a mini celebration in our brain saying, yes, we did it. And this dopamine hit reinforces behavior that lead to rewards, making us more likely to repeat them in future. But researchers have found that dopamine does not just make us feel good after we achieving something. It is also a spike right before we are about to get reward, almost like our brain way of saying, hey, pay attention, something good is about to happen. This anticipation of reward is a key factor in what motivates us to work hard. Some fascinating study at Vanderbilt University shed light on how dopamine affects our willingness to work. They found that go-getter, those people who always seems driven and motivated, tend to have a high level of dopamine in their area of their brain that associated with reward and motivation. On the flip side, slackers who are less willing to work hard to rewards had higher dopamine levels in the emotion and risk perception area of the brain. Isn't that wild? It's like the go-getter brain are wired to focus on the potential reward of hard work, while the snackers brain are more tuned into the potential risk or downside. Of course, this does not mean you are stuck being one way or other. Our brains are amazingly adaptable, but it doesn't help explain why some people seem naturally more driven than others. Now you might be thinking, okay, that's interesting and all, but what does this mean for my actual career? Well, understanding the role of dopamine can a total game changer when it comes to staying motivated and productive at work. For starters, it explains why setting and achieving goal feels so good. Every time we stick something off or to-do list or hit a milestone, our brain gives a little hit of dopamine rewards. This is why breaking big projects down into a smaller, achievable task can be so effective. It gives us more opportunities to trigger this feel-good dopamine releases and keep us motivated. It also shed light on why some work environments are more motivating than others. Jobs that offer clear path for the advancement, regular feedback, and tangible reward are basically setting up a dopamine playground in our brains. They are constantly giving us something to work towards and anticipate, which keeps that motivation flowing. But our brain can get used to certain level of dopamine stimulation, and that's why that promotion you have been dreaming about might feel amazing at first, but after a while you find yourself itching for the next big thing. It's not just you are ungrateful or overly ambitious, it is just your brain looking for its next dopamine hit. This dopamine cycle can be a double-edged sword in our career. one hand, it can drive us to keep growing, learning and achieving. But on other hand, it can lead to constant state of dissatisfaction if you are not careful. I mean, how many of us know someone, or maybe we are that someone, who's always chasing the next big career move, never quite satisfied with where they are? The key is to find a balance. We want to harness the motivating power of dopamine without becoming addicted to the constant pursuit of bigger and better things. This is where understanding the neuroscience can really help us make smarter career choices. For example, knowing that dopamine spike with anticipation of reward, we can set up our work life to include regular, achievable goals. This doesn't have to mean constantly gunning for the promotion or pay rises. It could be as simple as setting weekly target for yourself, or finding way to measure and celebrate a small win in our daily life or daily work. Another important insight is that the dopamine isn't just about the external reward. Our brain also releases dopamine when we are learning something new or mastering a skill. This explains why many people find satisfaction in careers that offer continuous learning opportunities. So if you are feeling stuck or unmotivated in your career role, it might be time to seek out challenges or skill to develop. Now let's talk about how we can use this knowledge to create more motivating work environment. If you are a manager or team leader, understanding the role of dopamine can help you structure work in a way that keep your team engaged and motivated. For example, providing regular constructive feedback can help trigger this dopamine release that come with a sense of progress and achievement. Setting clear, attainable goals and recognizing when they are met can also help keep dopamine flowing. And creating an environment where the learning and growth are encouraged can tap into the dopamine release associated with mastering new skills. But it is not just about the manipulating dopamine levels. It's also about creating a holistic environment that supports overall brain health and well-being. So remember, my friend, dopamine is just one piece of puzzle. Other neurotransmitters like serotonin, which is associated with mood and well-being, and the oxytocin that link to bonding and trust, also play a crucial role in how we feel at work. This is why factors like positive relationship with the colleagues, a sense of purpose in our work, and a healthy work-life balance are so important. They contribute to an overall brain chemistry that support motivation, creativity, and job satisfaction. Now I know what you might be thinking, that all sound great, but what if I'm just not feeling motivated no matter what I do? Well, the good news is that there are ways to naturally boost your dopamine levels. First and foremost, take care of your physical health, get enough sleep, eat a balanced diet, and exercise regularly. These basics are crucial for maintaining healthy dopamine levels. In fact, exercise has been shown to increase dopamine production, which explains why some people get that runner high or feel more focused and productive after a workout. You can also try incorporating more tyrosine-rich food into your diet. Tyrosine is an amino acid that precursor for dopamine, meaning our body used to make the dopamine. Food high in tyrosine include eggs, cheese, soybean, turkey, and pumpkin seeds. Another thing is the mindfulness and meditation. That practice can also help regulate dopamine level. This practice can help reduce stress, which is important because chronic stress can deplete dopamine. Plus, meditation itself has been shown to increase dopamine release. Another interesting strategy is to harness the power of music. Listening to music you enjoy has been shown to increase dopamine level. So maybe that playlist you rock out to while working isn't just fun, it might actually be helping you stay motivated. It's also worth mentioning that while we want to boost our dopamine in a healthy way, we need to be careful about activities that give us artificial dopamine high. Things like excessive social media use, gambling, or substance abuse can flood our brain with the dopamine in the short term but can lead to decreased sensitivity over time. This can make it harder to feel motivated by normal, everyday activities and achievement. So now let's bring this back to our career. Understanding the role of dopamine doesn't mean we should structure our entire work lives around chasing the next dopamine hit. Instead, it's about creating an environment and habit that support healthy dopamine function, which in turn support our motivation and satisfaction at work. This might mean setting up a reward system for yourself when you complete big projects, or it could involve finding a way to inject more novelty and learning into daily work routine. Maybe it's about having regular check-in with your boss or mentor to get that feedback-driven dopamine boost. For some people, it might mean making a bigger career change. If you find yourself constantly unmotivated or dissatisfied at work, it could be a sign that your current work is not providing the right kinds of stimulation for your brain. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to quit your job tomorrow, but it might be worth exploring what kinds of work or environment get you excited and energized. Remember, my friend, though, that motivation is not just about feeling good all the time. Sometimes we need to push through tasks or projects that are not inherently rewarding. This is where understanding dopamine can help us structure our work in smarter ways. Maybe we pair less exciting tasks with the more enjoyable ones, or we find a way to gamify our less thrilling responsibility. It's also important to remember that while dopamine plays a crucial role in motivation, it's not the only factor. Our values, interests, skill, and life circumstances all play into our career satisfaction and success. So dopamine is more like the fuel that helps drive us towards our goal, but we still need to choose the destination. So in the end, understanding the neuroscience of motivation can be incredibly empowering. It helps us see that our motivation level are not just about willpower or personality, there is a biological basis of it. And more importantly, it shows that we have the power to influence our motivation through our choice and habit. So the next time you are feeling stuck or unmotivated at work, remember, my friend, that little dopamine molecule. Maybe you need to set a new goal, learn a new skill, or simply take a walk to get those dopamine levels up. Or maybe it's time for a bigger change to find work that really light up your brain's reward center. Whatever path you choose, you know that you have more control over your motivation than you might think. By understanding and working with your brain natural tendency, you can create a career that not just successful but deeply satisfying on your neurochemical level. That's what I call using your head. So thank you for the watching and see you in the next video.